the Ghost Tactical Production Studio.
Listen up.
Tuesday,
So if you shower
streaming
with
live on YouTube and
you probably
simulcasting
haven't
as
even
always on gunchannels.com. To check out our entire lineup of videos, podcasts, and live shows, please visit our website, www.ghosttacticalproductions.com. What's going on, my Ghost Squad? Welcome to Tactical Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, May 7th, 2019. We are live as always on YouTube and simulcasting as always over on gunchannels.com. If you guys don't know what gunchannels.com is by now, well, I just can't help you. So crawl out from underneath the rock in which you live. Check out the link I'm putting out there in the chat and come join the best pro-gun, pro-second amendment community out there on the interwebs. It's a great community started about 6 years ago by G-Webs, and it's a wonderful place to have like-minded people gather, have questions that you want to ask, hang out, share your videos, share your live streams. If you're just getting into firearms, we have a lot of knowledgeable people over there. But most of the content creators that you guys like to watch, we're all over on Gun Channel, so come join in. A 24-hour lobby chat is always around, so we've got some great people over there. So come check us out over at gunchannels.com. And speaking of gun channels, let's say hey to everybody out there. You got G-Webs and David Bowlings over there. And on the YouTube side, we're going to do a quick roll call and let people get the notifications out there. We'll say hello to some people. We got John Brown Productions over there, Kingpin, Gun Loving Grandpa, Outsiders out there. Outsiders say they just made it back to Arkansas from being gone on a trip. So welcome back to Arkansas. Joe's Yells over there, Dr. Recoil, Team POI. Well, we'll get to them in a second. Patriot in the Dark, Semper Fidelis, brother. Calaveras, 32 Specials out there. Joe Son's out there. Off the X, my buddy from here in town. I train with quite a bit. What's up, Lance? The Archangel is out there. Philo's out there. Gun Websites, John Z, Andrew Faulkner, and others. So if you guys are out there and you haven't said hello, please say hello. We can't see you if you don't say anything in the chat. So go ahead and say, if you're new to the channel, new to the show, welcome. We hope you enjoy. We hope we don't make you any more stupid than you already may feel. But I can't guarantee you we're not the smartest people in the world. Once again, I like to eat crayons, apparently. So it is what it is. So we're going to go through the room real quick and introduce everybody. From Arizona, we got the Godfather himself. What's up, G?
Hey, thanks for the invite.
You're welcome, man. And from Texas, we've got the Tactical Virus. The Leprechaun. Clover Tack, what's up, buddy?
Hey, good to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Thanks for coming. And our special guest tonight, it's a company that has had an interesting past, but man, they're doing some awesome things. We've got Cole from Devil Dog Arms. What's going on, Cole?
How you doing, man? Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for coming on. We got to spend a little bit of time. NRA was really busy. You were pulled in a lot of different directions, but the cool thing about Devil Dog Arms is the story behind it. I know you guys are working hard and put some really great products out there. If you want to ask some questions to Cole about Devil Dog Arms, please go ahead and tag one of us in the chat. We will get to those, or you can email them to live@ghosttactical.us, or you can text them to the number right up there, 530-364-4678. We will get those on there. So let's get those thumbs up out there. We appreciate everybody watching, and let's kind of dig in with Cole real quick and kind of, for those that may not know much about Devil Dog Arms, can you kind of give the little synopsis of what you guys are doing right now?
So Devil Dog, our biggest focus right now is our new 1911 line. It's relatively new. We've had the AR line out for, I don't know, maybe a year and a half. Been working heavily with a guy named Tommy Thacker. A lot of people know Tommy. Comes from FN, 3-gun world champ. He's spent a lot of time in the circuit. He's been helping us, pushing Devil Dog in the right directions. And then, I'm here to help on the marketing end. But Devil Dog, has had kind of a checkered past. And we thought, at first that we were going to maybe try and skirt that. But you know what? It's better to be honest, get that out of the way, and, work towards, growing the company, growing the brand. So that's kind of what I'm here for. We're trying to say, hey, it's not the same company, it's not the same thing, and we've got new cool things out. We want people to pay attention to that.
Yeah, and without diving too deeply into it, for those of you that may remember a couple years ago, there was some issues with one of the previous owners or whatever, associates that may have fibbed a little bit about his service and all of that. And I know it's tough because this community and this industry is very heavily veteran based. And I know they shut the company down. They fired him right away. I mean, they did everything they were supposed to do. But, how hard is it to come back from something like that where you literally had to shut the doors?
The one of the original owners is still around, but he had no idea. He was kind of like everybody else that had the wool pulled over his eyes, I guess you could say, and he just wanted to start it. But he's got a brother that's been in the U.S. Army for a lot of years, and he goes, you know what, we need to keep the Devil Dog name around because it's just there's so much pride and everything that goes into that. And we're like, we want to keep that same pride and same movement going with what we're doing. I'm ex-Army, and I have the same love for everything as it is, and we're really starting to push forward and focus on, supporting special forces groups, Marine Scout Sniper stuff. We've been really focused on coming back and saying, you know what, we are here and we're doing this for the right reasons. We really want to support, our brothers and sisters that are fighting the fight, and then, into LE and everything else. We're trying to say, hey, we're not who we used to be.
Yeah, and I got to spend some time with the different weapon systems you have, the AR platform, obviously 1911, and some bolt action. The Hog, man, those are some sweet things out there. The 338 Lapua is that could be one of the coolest rifles I've ever seen. So I'm really happy you guys are doing that. And I know you guys are kind of focusing on the 1911 game, but I had a question, if you don't mind, to kind of start out from one of my patrons over there. Andrew Faulkner wanted to ask me, with the AR market being saturated, what's been the largest challenge for you guys as a manufacturer kind of being involved in the AR market?
Our biggest problem was a lot of the stuff we've got was developed by the old Devil Dog. We've rebranded, we've got new logos, new insignia. So we're trying to get rid of the old stock and then come out with a whole new line of ARs. We're working on a lower right now that's kind of new and hip, with the rest of a lot of the lowers that are kind of moving more towards the cooler look, the handguards. We're redoing everything. It's hard to sell an AR platform that was popular a few years ago, just because even the ARs, just the look of them has, exponentially grown over the last few years. So for us to kind of grow and bring the brand around to our new line, that's kind of been our biggest thing. And then of course the brand recognition. There's a lot of big companies out there like Spikes and Arrow and all these big companies, and it's like, how do you find your own little niche in an already saturated market? A lot of these groups are starting to go to bolt actions now because the ARs are so saturated, and that's kind of where we came out with the Hog, like you were talking about, and it's more of a boutique, the price point. I've had a few riders that took them and they said hands down they're probably the most accurate rifle they've ever shot, but it depends on if somebody wants to drop that kind of cash on one. But, for now, like as you stated, with the AR market the way it is, I think that's kind of where we need to push into the 1911 market, because it's kind of that boutique. And that, for some reason right now, that's where everybody's kind of going. The hype is still kind of there. Everybody's a little bit scared, but I think we're going to make a whole bunch and sit on them and see what happens with this election.
Right. Before we start talking about the product line in the 1911s, Clover G, do you have any questions for Cole before we get going?
Oh, maybe I missed. Where are you located?
Devil Dog is located Geneva, Illinois. So right outside Chicago. Everybody about craps their pants when they hear that because it's so liberal. But you know what? We're still building good stuff, so we can't complain. We can't move, but we're actually moving into a different warehouse here pretty soon. But it's still in the same area, but it's all in Illinois.
So being in Illinois, and I know that they say, a lot of people, I have friends in Illinois that say that most of the state itself is actually kind of pretty pro-gun. It's just maybe Cook County and that one little section of Chicago that kind of run obviously the politics of the state. But when you have several, Springfield's there, you've got Rock River's there. So you've got other companies that are in Illinois. So when you guys are saying you're Illinois, is that something that you've seen a pushback from, or do most people just not really care as long as the products are good?
No, we're actually selling a lot of 1911s. We've got a couple local shops here that have bought a lot of ARs, a lot of 1911s. We've got one shop that's selling probably, last time I looked, they were between 15 and 30 1911s a month or something like that. So, and I learned the same thing at NRA show. Most of everybody that I talked to are like, man, this, it's that area of Chicago, but everywhere else seems to be, like you said, that pro gun area that everybody kind of wants to be a packing citizen.
Yeah. Clover, do you have anything you want to ask Cole before we start diving in?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the warehouse goes, I mean, is the manufacturing, most of it done there in Illinois, or is that more so assembly?
No, most of our manufacturing is done. We've got some of our 1911 parts that are done in upstate New York, just because we don't have the capabilities to make them. But most the assembly and the ARs and all that type of stuff, that's all done here, that's all done in Illinois.
Well, let's kind of talk about the 1911s. I got to handle the 1911s. Got a little booth review from NRA about the 1911s, and I've never been a huge 1911 fan, just because I think that everyone just kind of uses the old everything else, and it's the same. A 1911 is a 1911 is a 1911, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you're talking about being innovative, and I like what's happening with a couple manufacturers, including you guys, the last couple of years, where it's not just the 1911 45 ACP, because a lot of people don't like 45. I personally, my favorite round, and G Webs is gonna joke me on this, but I love the 9mm. And having a 1911 platform chambered in 9mm is going to be probably opening up a market for a lot of people that may not be able or willing to handle a 45 yet. So has a 9mm taken off for you, or are you still heavily in the 45?
No, surprisingly, lately, the last probably month to 2 months, as we're starting to push out, the 9mm have definitely been. We invested heavily in the 45s, thinking that's the Lord's caliber, that's where it's going. But surprisingly, the 9s have been extremely popular. Our 3.5, we make a 3.5-inch 9, 4 1/4, and a 5-inch. That little 3.5 is amazing at recoil and staying on target. The big 5 inches, for the IDPAs and, the guys that want to kill some steel, they're loving that thing. I mean, the slide in you felt the slide and everything. I mean, the tightness and the trigger and everything that comes with it, you just take it out of the box and go ahead and shoot and compete with it. I've had a couple people lately in the last month that have taken it right out of the box, gone, shot a match, and won the match with it. So that kind of speed is.
It was wonderful, and I tell you, and I'm big on reset. I love a good reset, and it's not only is it audible, you can hear it, but it's a very crisp feeling reset. So if you're one of these people that like to shoot from reset as much as possible, man, this is as good as I've had as a reset. I'm not going to say it's up there with like the Walther, because Walther's reset is like 1/10 of an inch, but you don't necessarily want to have it. Some of these guns, you don't want to have it that short of a reset, but it is a very loud, audible, and a very good feeling reset. But yeah, it feels good. Like I said, I'm not the biggest guy. I don't have the biggest hands, and so some 1911s gets a little bit too bulky. But for me, it was a great size. That 3.5, that was an awesome. And you don't see too many 3.5-inch 1911s out there. That's not something that a lot of people are going to go with. So I think doing a 3.5 and the 4 and all that, I think anything besides the 5. Everyone's maybe doing the 5, but having those smaller barreled 1911 style guns, I think it's a great idea, and I'm glad that you guys are doing that. There's some questions out here from the crowd. They're kind of wanting to know about the price point. I put the links out there, guys, in the chat. You can go check out their websites and all that, but maybe some price points on retail prices for the different models.
That's probably one of our best things for the quality. The 5-inch 9 starts around $9.99. It comes in either a standard or with a tack rail on the bottom. They go up to about, depending on which one it is, for the nickel or the boron nitride, as we call it, it's about $13.49 in a 3.5-inch, just because the boron's a little bit harder to do. But it's right in that price point, and the trigger, the fit, the finish, everything's right there, and we stand behind them 100%. And it's a satisfaction guarantee, and we haven't had any returns up to now. For the satisfaction part, and if anybody has any issues with it, we stand behind that too. So.
And I know that you've got in all the different models, you have a standard model and you also have a tactical model. For those that might not know the difference, you want to explain the difference in the standard versus the tactical form?
Yeah, so the tactical comes with a small pick rail, as Picatinny type rail on the bottom that you can attach a laser, a light, something that you can go around. A lot of Glocks, Smith & Wessons, different pistols like that have the rails on the bottom. A lot of guys don't like it. They just like the smooth bottom in front of the trigger, and I honestly am kind of split between either one. If I'm out shooting a match, I like the smooth. If I'm going to carry it and I want a light, I'll have the tack for sure. The tacks, in my opinion, look better. But a lot of the 1911 guys, they kind of have their opinions on which one they really want.
Yeah, some of them are very traditionalist. They don't believe in Picatinny reels. But now I will ask a question up there that came out from Off the X. Wants to know: do you guys have a custom shop or availabilities to customize in house?
We do a little bit. We can do Cerakote colors. We're working on like an ambi release now. We can do some. We're just not big enough quite yet that we can open a full custom shop. It's just one of those things that it's really hard. Like I said, we're right now is our big point of pushing the guns out. Hopefully, once we get the guns pushed out, the names out there, then we can come back and say, okay, we need to add some more flair to them if anybody wants that. But if somebody wants a color, great. If somebody wants different grips, we can do that. They come standard with the grips and everything that we have. But the trigger, I don't think it needs to be touched. Honestly, it's about a 3.5 pound trigger shipped. So a lot of guys feel it and they're like, holy cow, I can't believe it comes with a trigger like that. So
yeah, the trigger was, like I said, the trigger was great. There's some guys out there saying they would love to have one in 40 Smith or a 357 SIG. This might be getting ahead of the horse, but are there plans maybe down the road to venture into, in the 1911, into different calibers, or are you going to stay with the 45 and 9?
No, we're actually working, hopefully end of Q3, beginning of Q4. We've got a 10 millimeter in the works, because I want to go shoot some pigs with it. That's one of my calibers that I've wanted for a long time. And no, a lot of people, it's amazing. I've been asked a lot at the shows lately is 10, 10, 10, 10. I didn't realize how popular the 10 was until now. But, I mean, most of the other calibers were not quite there yet. But the 10 is, and I'd really like to work on an enhanced version with the threaded barrel too, because I love shooting some rest.
That would be cool. And yeah, 10 is one of those that I think it's an acquired taste, but I think once people, especially in a handgun, start shooting it, it is a wonderful handgun caliber. I don't mind it in a carbine every now and then. It's kind of cool. I've shot a couple carbine at 10 that are really nice, but I know Clover is a big 10 fan, especially in the handgun. I don't mind it in a carbine. Hey, what's up, Mike? I didn't know you were in here. We got Mike from M-W Tactical. What's up, Magic Mike? Can't hear you, brother. Can't hear you. Amateur night. It is amateur night at the Roxy. All right. So,
all right, can you hear me now?
Oh, no. So there he's come in late. He mutes himself. It's all good. What's up, bro?
Not too. I didn't have my microphone plugged in. Computer running around, but I want to apologize for my tardiness. I had a real busy day, just waking up. So checked my email, saw the link, jumped in. So I know we're talking about handguns. So 10 millimeter and custom handguns is what I heard.
Well, we got Cole with Devil Dog Arms, and they've got a new 1911 that's coming out, and it's in 45 right now and 9. And he's talking about doing 10 millimeter and all that. But yeah, it's a 1911. They've got a 3.5 inch, a 4 1/4, and a 5 inch, and all sorts of different stuff, and that really cool stuff. I got to handle them over at NRA, and really cool stuff. So I didn't know. Do you have any questions right off the bat for Cole before we move on?
All right, I have two questions. You said 1911. Now, are your 1911s more designed for competition or just for like a collector item piece?
No, they're more sleek and sexy. They're built for going out to the range, shooting. But like I said, in the 3.5 and the 4.25, you can conceal them if you want to, if you want an EDC. But most of them are, they're plate killers. They're built to go out and shoot. The springs and everything was designed in them. They're super tight coming from the factory, and they run flawlessly. We went through some original issues with, making sure that they were 100%. Now that they're out, I mean, we haven't had any issues up to now. So we're happy with how they've turned out.
Gotcha. All right. Any plans on any custom features? Because like the new John Wick handgun. the new John Wick handgun is the STI 1911.
Mhm.
Are there any plans to like trick yours out in a way like that in the near future?
Yeah, we've been looking at the 2011 design a little bit, the double stack, because that seems to be where everybody wants to go. You get into 3-gun, heavy 3-gun, the open guns, they're all pimped out 1911s that guys have just, dumped a lot of money into. And, the ambi safeties, the grips, the magwells. I mean, we're looking into that stuff heavily, but, like I said, these guns are about 1.5 years old, as far as Devil Dog's concerned. And we're just trying to get the word out there right now. And as more money starts coming in, as more awareness comes around, I mean, the sky's the limit. It's kind of like everything else, the STIs, the Dan Westons, everything else that's out there. I mean, hell, we'd love to compete with those.
Oh, gotcha. Now, what's the price point where I'm running? I don't know if this question's already been asked, but if it already been asked, I apologize.
It has. It's all right. Our 5-inch standard 9 without the tack rail starts at $9.99. And then you get up into the 3.5 boron nickel nitride finish, they're $13.49. So it's a good little space right there. They come in either the black oxide, the FDE, or the boron, the nitride. So they come in 3 standard colors, and then if somebody wants a different color, we're always willing to do it. We've done some custom Cerakotes, we've done some flags on them, we've done some cool stuff, and you can see a lot of that stuff on our social media, on our Instagram and Facebook page, what we've done so far.
Gotcha.
I love FDs. I'm a big FDE guy, but I was wondering, maybe this is a question that we can talk off air, but are you guys able to maybe do something with the Eagle Globe and Anchor for us Marines that get 19, maybe somewhere on the grip or on a slide or something, maybe etch in an EGA for us?
Yep, I'm actually working on a project right now for like returning units that want to do units, insignias, or the Globe and Anchor or engraving. We have a custom engraving shop there. So if you want it engraved, and then we can just, Cerakote over the top of it, or just engrave it and then coat it. We can do a lot of that different stuff. I mean, and that's, like I said, we're here to support everybody, especially, military, law enforcement, first responders. So.
Right. G, Clover, do you guys have anything before we move on? You feel free to jump in anytime.
I've got 2 things actually. First, when you're talking about the coatings, you can pass on this question if it's something that you can't divulge, but curious if you do that in-house or you have that done, and who does it if you have it done.
Honestly, I'm not 100% sure who does the boron nitride. That would be a question for Tommy or one of the developer guys. I'm not inclined to know some of that.
Right.
Like the Cerakote and the black oxide, I know we do in-house. On the nitride, I'm not sure who does it.
Okay, gotcha. There's only a few people that do that, to my knowledge. That's why I was asking.
Yeah.
And regardless, the ones I know of, they're all great companies. Next question is with assembly, with the fit and finish of everything. Is there a lot of man hours involved in this? I know with a lot of the other custom shop boutique stuff, that's a big deal. There's a lot of hands-on time involved. Is it the same way with y'all's 1911s?
Yeah, we go through it with a fine-tooth comb, put it together, run it. One thing we do before we even ship it is we run rounds downrange with it. It's usually between 3 to 5 rounds on a plate. Make sure it hits, make sure the gun's functioning correctly. A lot of companies don't do that. They'll just put it together, throw it in a box, and send it. We want to make sure if it's going out of our facilities that it's 100%, and we wouldn't want to carry it any other way, and we wouldn't want our customers to do the same thing. So everything we do, we go through and hand finish, and it's actually gone through by multiple people for QC. If there's any issues, it usually goes back to Tommy or one of the guys that can go through and do a complete, go through it with a fine tooth comb and make sure it's exactly what our customers need, because we're hard-earned cabbage out there. We want to make sure it's coming out the way you think it needs to be coming out.
Yeah, there's some questions out there, and I know that you said you're more of a kind of a precision and a long range guy. So let's maybe move into the hogs. There's some questions out here about the 338 Lapua, and I'm a huge 338 Lapua guy. I've never owned one, but the longest shot I've ever taken was 1,200 yards, and that was with a buddy of mine's 338 Lapua, and I kind of fell in love with that round. But you also offer the 6.5 Creed and the 308. But when you start talking about the hog, what's kind of some of the technology and things that make your guys' rifles different than the others?
Well, we've worked in conjunction with a company called Kelby Rifles with a lot of the stock on it's a Kelby. We went with the best stuff we could find. The barrel's a Krieger, match grade Krieger barrel. Everything that we do is done with custom reamers that are designed to spec, with the throaters and everything else are really, really tight. So a lot of the garbage ammo is kind of rough in them, depending on seating lengths. But I mean, everybody that shot them, I took them to the Marine Corps shooting team. I took them to the NRA shoot. I took them to some media events. Everybody that shot them has just been extremely impressed. The feel of the bolt's fluted. Everything that we put into it, it's Devil Dog. We've got our name on it. We've got our pride in it. So the Devil Dog name, we make sure that it's going out the door the way it should, and it's guaranteed. It's not one of our bigger pushes, but we want to make sure that, if somebody wants it, it's available. And we now have the 338 hasn't been available until about a week ago. Now we finally got a few 338s done. And like you said, the 308 and the 6.5 Creed is both available too. And for everybody that's bought one, have been extremely impressed with them.
Yeah, that's one of the things. That's one of my projects for the year is starting to get into the long range precision game, because I've always kind of been more of a close quarter kind of a guy in carbines. Let's say up to 500 yards carbine and handgun. But now it's one of those things where I want to kind of learn and get into the long range. But Mike was in the Army and went through some sniper stuff, and he's a long range precision guy. Mike, do you have any questions that people might be asking that are already involved with long range about the rifles?
Yeah, I'm actually on your website right now, and I'm trying to access it, but nothing's pulling up on the rifle, so I'm on Facebook right now. But one question I do have is in regards to the body or the chassis that's behind you. Could you tell us a little bit more about that, and how does that comprise with you doing the shooting competitions?
This one right here?
The red one in the background?
Yeah, that's a Masterpiece Arms BA comp. Phil Casson and the guys down at MPA sent that to me for some T&E stuff. They don't have the inlet for this yet for the hog. The inletting for the hog is actually a flat bottom, so it actually sits and rides in the stock completely different. It doesn't need bedding. But Kelby's has gone to some other places, and the XLR is available for the hog, which we now carry. It's in the XLR carbon chassis, which is an awesome setup. It takes some of the weight down, gives you the chassis feel and different things. But yeah, the MPA isn't quite ready for the hog yet. It's one of the things that we're looking into for sure, though.
Okay, so now compare that chassis. Have you shot anything out of that chassis as of yet?
Yeah. I run. I'm on the National Rifle League Board of Directors,
Okay.
and I actually shoot. I shot for Remington for quite a few years. I've shot for U.S. Optics. My big thing is long range. Long range precision's been my baby for the last few years. So it's kind of one of those things that's where I do. I actually host the NRL Dog Valley match here in Utah. I live out in Utah. But yeah, I do that stuff all the time.
Okay, so now when y'all did any type of torture test or just basic test, what is the fulcrum of like how you make your your barrels?
So we don't do the barrels. The barrels are actually made by a company called Krieger. Krieger makes the barrels. They're a match grade button pulled. I believe they're button. They're either button or they're match grade lapped M24 contour. Hand polished chamber, hand fitted. It isn't done cheap. The barrels, we searched for a lot of different barrels, and Krieger kind of put out the best barrel that we could find out there for what we were looking for.
Got you. Now, as far as your chassis go, for your platforms,
Mhm.
do y'all have any? So say like if I just wanted the regular Remington look, do y'all offer various shapes when it comes to chassis, or is it just your flagship way of presenting them?
No, the only one that Devil Dog has is just the Hog, and it's based around either that XLR carbon chassis or the Kelby stock. It's just kind of in those two basic configurations because it's, like I said, it's a boutique. The price range is a little bit higher, and it's kind of one of those things that we really want to push, but there's a lot of different rifles out there. So to compete with, the $3,000 price point and all those, it's a little bit harder. But once somebody picks these up and understands the precision that go into them, they go, okay, now I understand why. But we get that a lot, why are you charging so much for a rifle? It's because, we went through and we found only the best stuff to put in it. We didn't cut any corners. So
I'm with you. I'm with you. Final question. If I was to take the Hog 338 Lapua and do a sniper challenge, can you actually describe it far as weight wise, moving from one point to the next point? Because you're moving like over the course of distance, like half a mile stages.
that would be one hell of an expensive gun to shoot in a sniper competition at $4 or $5 a round, with the Lapua. Me personally, I'd probably shoot the Creedmoor. With the BCs, the cost of ammo, everything else, the weight. The guns themselves come in at about 13 pounds, 13 and a half pounds. So it's one of those things that you got to be in shape if you're going to do a sniper challenge with it. But the Lapua would be an awesome choice. You'd probably kill the hell out of the still for the match.
Yeah.
You shoot a 300 OTM at a piece of still, it knows you hit it. There's no question. An RO wouldn't have any problem with calling it. So,
Got you.
I got a question for you out there. For someone like myself who's looking to get into the long range game, that has limited or very little experience in that, but is looking for a great solid rifle, would you suggest that, obviously you're not going to suggest the 338 right away, but would you suggest a 6.5 or 308?
For sure, 6.5. The 308 is a good training round, but for ballistics, the ammo choices, everything else, the 6.5's just kind of become that flagship of, everybody wants it. Now you can get into the 6 Creedmoor, the 22 Creedmoor. I mean, you've got a whole lot of decisions, a whole lot of choices, but the way BCs are, the way velocities are going, the Creedmoor seems to be, the best all around round. You've got a lot of great wind drift and wind cutting abilities with the 308 with heavier bullets, depending on what you go with. But for me, the recoil and everything else of a 6.5, it seems to be a little bit better. And especially if you put it, in this Hog where it's a little bit heavier, you get it up on a barricade or something else with that weight, and it's not moving. You can stay on target. You don't have a whole lot of scope movement. Your muzzle's staying on target, and it's just an all-around good round, in my opinion.
Now I've got a question from the gun channel size. David wants to know, how do you guys deal with the different state restrictions as far as sales and shipping?
It depends on the state. We've got, like in New York, we've gone through all the hoops. It's now legal in New York. I think the only state that we aren't trying to really target is California, just because of how big of a pain in the butt it is. We're looking into it because we get a crap ton of people from California asking about it. We're just trying to figure out what the easiest way to go about doing it is. But for most states, we have sales guys. We have an Eastern sales guy, a Western sales guy, and then we just have them get in contact with them and set it up through their local dealer, or we can, ship it wherever we need to ship it, as long as it goes with an FFL. But we're willing to work with anybody. You know, you don't have to be a dealer. If you want to order one, just set it up and we'll be more than happy to get you go.
Now, I've got a buddy of mine out there. He lives down in around the Houston, Texas area, and he's wanting to know, do you guys need any sales reps in Texas? He'd be interested.
Maybe. Have him hit me up. We're always looking for good people.
He's a good one. So, Andrew, I'll get you his email after. I'll email you his email. That sounds weird, but I'll email you his email, and you guys can do all that. I think he's about a half serious. I know that he is trying to look into some sales jobs in the firearm industry and all that. I know he was talking with another company or whatever, but I think he's half serious, at least half serious, maybe more than half. But
this is a good area, man. There's a lot of people down there that want to spend a lot of money. You know, when I sold
money down there too as well. So
when I sold Voodoos, we sold a lot of Voodoos down there. It was one of those. It was one of those areas that the guys got a well. They've got play, fun. They go out, they shoot. They got a lot of hogs. There's a lot of fun stuff down there to go shoot. And that's where, our MRP 10s, which is our 308 rifle, coming to 308 65 Creed. That would be a good place for it down there shooting hogs. We've got our other AR line, and then, like I said, once these 10s come out, you're going to see me down there shooting too. So,
yeah, we've got Philo out there. He's in California, and he says that as of what he's finding, you can't sell the handguns, but definitely can sell the AR and your bolt action, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Now, G-Webs and Clover, bring you guys in real quick and see if you guys have anything that you want to bring up at this time.
Yeah, I've got a question about the bolt on that. Can you go into a little more detail? The bolt face, the lug system, and why you're using those on those rifles?
So we reduced the area on the bolt with the fluting. It makes it smoother when you're running a bolt. Even if you shoot a lot of long range precision when you're running your bolt, it can move your scope a little bit if it's not smooth. We wanted to make sure while you're on target, where you get your cheek weld, you're running that bolt smooth. So that's why we took some of that out. It's got, they're all machined, hand fitted, finished and lapped. A lot of bolts companies like Remington, they just throw a bolt in there. It's kind of rough when you get it. You might want to put some grit on it and try and, smooth it out. But these hogs come to where you just pull it out of the box and you can take the gun and flip it upside down and just move the bolt. I mean, it's amazing how smooth these bolts are in these rifles. And they are black nitrided as well. So the coating is, it's going to stay on there. It's not going to come off like a Cerakote.
What about the lugs? About when the bolt lock up and all that good stuff? You know much about that?
Not a whole lot. They're built, for complete lockup. I think there's still a 3-lug or they're a 2-lug. I can't remember what they are, to be honest with you. The 3-lug would probably be a 60, so I believe they're a 2-lug, but they lock up similar to the Remington. And then they do have a different extractor system in it. They're the Seiko type extractor. So it's not one of those like a Remington where you're going to buy it and you're going to want to switch it out later with like a mini M16 or something. The way these extractors were built, sometimes when you get high pressure loads, that extractor can blow out the side and hit you in the face. We've seen it. So they changed the extractor system up in these, so it's all sealed inside the bolt head. So if something explodes and expands, you're not going to get crap in your face. So they've thought through a lot of stuff when it comes to the bolt faces.
We do have a question out there from Off the X wanting to know, do you guys only sell complete rifles, or can you buy parts?
Right now, we only sell complete rifles. We're working on the way it's set up is the old Devil Dog stuff that we have is all built. So we're selling it all, trying to get rid of it. The new stuff that we're going to be coming out with, we probably will have some parts lists, some builder kits, that we'll have, with the Devil Dog, with the new DDA logo, with the new dog, with everything. They're going to be a little sexier, a little more flashy, so guys can buy the parts and put the gun together themselves. Because I build a lot of my own ARs, and I like to know exactly how they're put together. So we're gonna try and look into that and see how we can make it the best for both of us, or for everybody involved anyway.
Yeah. G, so you got a question real quick?
A question that's been coming up in some of our chats recently. I think it's an interesting one. Where do you see Devil Dog in 5 years?
That's going to be a hard one because we're just trying to get our feet up off the ground. What I'd really like to see is a whole line of 1911s, 2011s, different calibers. Getting in there with the Wilsons, getting in there with the Nighthawk Customs, getting to that point to where, if somebody wants something off the wall custom stuff, we can do that. We want to be able to get to that point. With the ARs, we want to do the same thing. We want to have more offerings. We're still trying to decide on the hogs, if that's the route that we really want to maintain and keep going with. That's going to be something we're going to see over the next year. But our biggest focus right now, for sure, is the 1911s, getting them to the next step, and then the ARs, the whole AR market, and then offering more calibers.
G, do you have a follow up on that as well?
Yeah, I'm not finding the mute. I guess that one's a little more off topic. So let me ask, with the calibers, is it interesting having multiple calibers to deal with, or is it a pain in the butt to have multiple calibers to deal with? Was it better back in the days of just 308?
Not necessarily. 308 and 65 Creed in the MRP 10s, there's no change. The mags are the same. The bolt faces are the same. The issue is when you get into the smaller platforms like the 6.5 Grendel, the 6.8 SPC, some of those that require different bolt faces, different mags. That's why it's nice. Honestly, all it requires is a barrel change between like 224 Valkyrie, 223, 556, 300 Blackout. Those are a lot easier. You get into some of those crazy off the walls, and it gets a lot harder to be able to fulfill because then your parts list goes up. Your building, everything's totally different. But as far as the MRP 10, the offerings that we have, I think, are great right now. A lot of people, say I want 243 or something, but there's inherently a feeding issue that I've heard of over the years with 243 and AR-10s. So I don't think we're going to go down that road, at least not right now. But, we're working right now. We've got a couple new design concepts out in the ARs, and one's a pistol. Of course, the AR pistols are taking off like crazy, with the brakes or with the braces. And then also in the MRP 10, we're really looking towards, with Tommy being the 3-gun guy he is and the competition guy in the AR world, we're really looking into like proof barrels, concept designs with ultra sweet freaking long range builds that the guys really want to see. And that's kind of where it's going. Like I said, the boutique side of things is really growing right now because the guys have the money to spend and they want to do something a little bit different than everybody else. You go to a gun range and you've got 20 guys that got a friggin' AR-15 standing there, and you want to be the 21st guy that's really standing out. And that's kind of one of the routes that we're trying to go to as well.
Okay, I've got a couple questions out here, and let me find a Philo out there. It says on the 1911, he's asking, how are you getting the 3.5 inch to run reliably?
It's been hard. We got our butts kicked, with lock back and everything else with the spring systems in them. I think we finally figured it out. I've got a couple that I've been shooting a lot. A lot of it is just spring pressure, spring tension. All the 3.5s have a guide rod in them, so it makes it a little bit more reliable. The fit and finish on them is a lot tighter, so you don't get any wobble. That's one problem. Some of the 1911s are a little bit loose, and they have that slop when they come back, and they don't really ride. So we made ours a little bit tighter, brought the tolerances in, worked on the extractor system a little bit, and I haven't seen any issues with the personal ones, and I haven't heard of any returns as of yet with the new ones that we just released. So it's going to be something that I think is going to be a learning process for us as well here at Devil Dog.
All right, and I've got another question out there from Big Racer. He says, is the hog receiver a big bore Panda?
It's not a Panda, no. It's like the Black Bear, the Kelby's Black Bear.
Okay, all right. There is something that I kind of want to maybe go into a transition just a little bit. And you were talking about different calibers in the AR, and I know you've got the 223 and you've got the 308 in the ARs right now. If it was up to you, what would be the next caliber that's added to the list? Would it be 300 Black or would it be 224 Valkyrie? What would you like to see the next caliber in the AR platform?
Definitely 300 Blackout. That's easy because all it is a mag change or a barrel change. That's easy for us. Same thing with the Valkyrie. The problem with the Valkyrie is, you've heard lately inherently that they're not as accurate as maybe some guys are saying. I'd like to look more into that and see exactly where that's going to go. There's a lot of new little calibers out. The 6.8 SPC kind of died there for a while. I don't know if it's making a comeback or not. I shoot Grendel a lot. Like I said, though, with the Grendel, it's a pain in the butt because you've got to do a mag change and a bolt change along with the barrel. But for me, I mean, it's a no-brainer to go blackout and Valkyrie, in my opinion.
You kind of like to do a lot of long distance stuff. Well, let's talk Valkyrie for a second, because there's a lot of people that are talking about the accuracy, and a lot of people say it's because of the twist rate, not be able to kind of find that perfect twist rate for it. Is that something that you think is the issue with the Valkyrie? And if so, is that a danger for the Valkyrie to kind of just fade away? Because it's been out for a while now, or at least long enough to they might have hopefully been able to figure out a twist rate, but it doesn't seem to be happening.
Yeah, those guys did an excellent job at marketing when that Valkyrie came out. They spun it up like this is the end all be all for what it is. That's the thing, is it can be, coming from a ballistics background, it can be multiple things. It can be twist rate, it can be throat, it can be, chamber design, your pressures and everything, the way they're going on a barrel. It would have to be something I'd have to really look into. And between even dwell time can mess with stuff like that. It's crazy. And if they don't have stuff perfect as they go out, that's one of those things. But I think as more people kind of jump on the bandwagon, it's like with 300 Blackout. At the beginning, there was 1 or 2 companies that had the ammo, they control it. I think as more companies come out with the ammo, I think it's going to get inherently better. The testing is better. The understanding of the caliber is a lot better. I've actually got a buddy here in Utah that created he calls it the 6 Cannon. It's like a 22 BR on steroids. Supposedly at 1,000 yards, it's got like, what did he say, 50 inches less drop. I haven't seen the data on it, so I can't really honestly talk to it. But there's a lot of people coming out with some good options, and I think here in the next few years, I mean, the sky's the limit with some of these guys trying to take the flattest, coolest thing out there and making it even better. But going back to your comment, I think the Valkyrie will come around. It's got enough marketing push behind it. It's got enough people interested in it. They just got to come out with the right ammo and the right barrels, and I think they'll be fine.
Yeah. Mike, G, Clover, anything else before we move on topics?
I don't have anything else, but I can ask this. When you actually put scopes on it, what is your reference point, and what is the best scope that you found that you ran on your rifle?
On my centerfire or on one of my ARs?
Oh no, the centerfire. I'm sorry.
On the centerfires. Like I said, I shot for US Optics for about 5 years. I really love their optics. The recent changes in the optics community, I'm really, really digging the new Night Forces. The attackers, especially going into 22s and stuff like that, the ability for them to parallax down to like 10 yards, 20 yards is amazing for that big of a scope. The ability for the glass to be as crystal clear as it is, they're just surprising to me how far scopes have come in the last even 2 to 5 years. They've come huge. But usually when I mount a scope, I do it one of 2 ways, because you want to get it perfectly level. As you dial, you don't want it to track wrong at all. You want to make sure it's 100%, because you'll notice, and I've had a couple buddies come to me and they say, hey, my scope or my rifle sucks, it's not shooting right. So I go dial their scope even on a 100-yard target, and they're starting to go like this because their scope's even a little bit off. What we usually do is we'll use a flashlight and a plumb bob. That's easy. Or we'll set it up with a target out there with lines that are perfectly level. I'll go out there and make the lines, line the reticles up. There's a couple different ways you can do it, but the easiest way for me to do it is with a plumb bob, with a flashlight in the front and a plumb bob hanging across the room, and just make sure it's 100% lined up.
That's awesome. I've got a question out there from Travis P11. Wants to know where he might be able to find, maybe online. I think is what he's really going to ask, is online. Where can he find Devil Dog Arms products? Is it just on your website, or are you guys on different websites to sell?
No, it's on www.devildog.arms.com. You just got to click, especially when you go to the 1911s at the top, it'll say standard and tactical. You can switch back and forth between the two. Or there's a lot of dealers. If you go up in the top, there's a dealer reference guide where you can do a drop down and it'll show you all the dealers in the country according to GPS coordinates, and then you can go to that dealer and request it. And we're trying to find dealers big time right now, so we're running some specials if people get their dealers to sign up. We're working on some more ones, some more different things too. But we're really strong in the east, up in the Illinois area. We're starting to push down further south, and then coming out west is kind of one of those things that it's a lot further spread out, so it's been a little bit slower process. But
we were at NRA and there was a lot of buzz going on about what was going on politically with the NRA while we were there, and maybe with the turmoil that the community's having at the political hierarchy of our industry. 2020 could be an interesting year for the elections. And I know G was going to ask this, as he said it was off subject, but I think it really isn't. But, for a company, especially who's kind of getting back into the game, what's the biggest risk or opportunity that you guys see with Devil Dog Arms, going forward for the 2020 election?
We've been stashing, I probably shouldn't say it out loud, but we've been kind of keeping track of a lot of our ARs, kind of putting them behind and making sure that we have them for that. We were making jokes about it the other day. We're like, man, we wish a Democrat would win because our sales would skyrocket again, because Democrats are really good for the gun industry as far as sales. They aren't good for limiting everything, but they're really good for sales. It's crazy how much the gun industry is wrapped around politics. And as politics change, the gun industry changes. In stale years, with President Trump, great president in my opinion, but problem is people just aren't out there impulse buying. So we're trying to maintain what we are. There was a lot of companies that invested a lot of money into Hillary winning. She didn't, and now they're hurting for it. So we've got to be really smart, in our releases and how we maintain things and getting new product out and different things. We're not really necessarily looking for that. We're just looking for, how can we build our brand and how can we make sure people know that we're here to get them what they need. That's our biggest focus right now.
I want to let G come back in if he wants to follow up on that real quick, but I've got a question from Travis. He was asking, he's in Nebraska, and if he's interested in getting a firearm from you guys directly from the website, how is he going to be able to get his FFL connected with that? Is that something that the FFL will have to email Devil Dog, or will there be a place when they go through the purchase, or does it have to be from another company? Can he buy it directly from you guys using his FFL?
Yes, yeah. We pride ourselves in making sure the average guy can access our products, even if he doesn't have a dealer. It's hard to get to those dealers. If he wants to do it, he just needs to email sales@devildogarms.com. And then we'll reach out, get the information from his local FFL, and then we'll go through and just get him the gun and send it to his FFL and get him taken care of. That's easy. We do it all the time.
Perfect. G, did you want to follow? I didn't mean to steal your thunder, but you were out there asking that question. I did want to transition to that because that is kind of an important thing. The next year and a half is crucial for our community. But do you have anything that you want to follow up on the 2A side of things?
I'm glad you asked the question, and that gives you a chance to focus on a little bit. Are there any pro-gun or pro-community organizations that Devil Dog supports?
Oh yeah, we try to support everybody we can. Even with the crazy turmoil in the NRA, we always promote the NRA World Shoot. That's one thing that we always go to, try to give away the best we can. We're always I've been a lot of the special forces groups. We've been doing a lot of giveaways with them, making sure they're taken care of. Marine Corps Scout Sniper Association, we've been working with them. We're always trying to figure out how we can work with other companies and make sure that the rights stay the way they are and they're not infringed. So we're one of those. We're a pro company, and we want to make sure that our customers can always get what they want.
I want to come to Clover here in just a second. Now Buck out there, he's wanting us to do something crazy. He said a 1911 with mine and Clover and Mike's and G's logo engraved on it would be a nice birthday present. Just saying, May 27th. So we'll work on that, Buck. We'll work on that. Happy birthday, bro.
I know a guy.
What's that?
I know a guy that can make it happen.
You know a guy that can make that happen.
Nice.
Clover, you said you got a question. What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, we was talking about you know, the different organizations and stuff. I just wanted to throw out there. I didn't know if Cole was aware of the Antares Alliance or not, but being you know, having the ties to military and veterans, stuff like that, maybe something to look into.
No, for sure. If you can get me the information, I'm always willing to see how we can help, even if it's, certificates or swag or however we can do it. As a small company trying to gain our foothold, it's important for us to make sure that we go out there and support the people that are trying to help support us. So I'm all about that stuff. If you can get me that information.
Yeah, and those guys that's actually a network. They could actually help you guys too. It's more what I was looking at was more of a symbiotic relationship.
Oh, I love those. Those are my favorite. Probably scratch your back, you scratch mine type thing. I love those.
Yeah, and Antares is a group of, and they have to be affiliated somehow with law enforcement or military to be part of this little network. But Antares has a shoot on the Sunday before SHOT Show, the day before Industry Day at the range. They have their own shoot. That might be kind of a cool thing. And I was going to ask you, do you guys plan on being at SHOT Show and or media day at the range, or doing a range day at all for SHOT Show? Because I think that there's probably some people that would love to get their hands on your stuff.
No, that's definitely one thing. We were at SHOT Show the last few years, and some issues came up that were kind of out of our control. We're going to try and get back in this year. One of the partners that the owners own, he owns a company called Crazy Quail, so they sell the cool clay pigeon throwers. We're trying to get both of those back in, and it's just been a long road trying to get back in and making sure we can get it. But we're going to definitely try to get there. If we don't, we're going to try and hit all the other shows we can, like the NRA and whatever we can get our products in. It's just, with a small company with a limited amount of employees, it's really hard for us to try and hit as many shows as we can.
Well, we're coming up on an hour. I want to say out there, if you have any questions out there on the live side, go ahead and ask them before we start kind of closing the doors. But before we do that, I want to kind of go through the room and let the other panelists kind of plug anything they want to plug, and we'll bring it back to Cole and kind of wrap up that way. I'll give some people some time to ask some questions. Let's start with Mike. Mike, what do you got going on? Do you want to plug anything?
Oh, first of all, I want to say again, I apologize for my tardiness of having a busy day, but once again, I think it was another great show.
You said you were sleeping. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I had a busy day, man. I had to catch up. I had to recharge a little bit.
You're taking naps now. You are freaking old, dude.
Right, so here we go. If anything, please give me a call at 803-250-1256 or go to m-wtactical.com. Do a search for me on Instagram and Facebook under either M-W Tactical or at Munitions Weapons Tactical. Check out the Black Men with the Gun podcast with Ken Blanchard and myself. Go to the M-W Tactical store at www.m-wtactical.com/store and get your swag, either M-W Tactical or Black Man with the Gun. Don't forget, we have the GoFundMe campaign. That is gofundme.com/LEO training. That's putting law enforcement officers in training for a year free at no charge to them or their department. I just need a lot of people to help me by donations to that. Don't forget, we got the M-W Tactical channel, where we do reviews, conversations, and other topics that you can find on Gunstreamer and YouTube. And outside of that, just remember we do the M-W Tactical podcast as well.
Now that GoFundMe for the LEO, that's for jiu-jitsu training, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So anybody who donates to that, the goal is to raise set amount. I think the total now is like $4,000, and we're trying to put forth law enforcement officers in jiu-jitsu training. So when the people donate to that, first of all, I do not get any profit off of this. So everything you see is broken down to what it costs to get a gi and what the training costs for a year. And then that goes to said officer for them to go to the gym.
Awesome. Yeah, go support Mike. He does a great job on a lot of different projects. So go out there and go check him out. G, what you got going on, man?
I'm about to leave and go interview Charles Heller tonight. but I interviewed Mike yesterday, and yeah, that whole jujitsu thing, I never realized that was, you're really just eliminating the burden, right, for the officers that are already interested in taking the classes because they understand the value of it and they're interested in attending the courses. But that is a burden, $2,000 to take it for a year. That's not like, like it's some kind of a raffle or something. That's like people that are, with families and have bills and they want to add that skill set. This is giving them an opportunity to do that with the crowdfunding. I think that's a great project.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Like I said, the overall goal for that is nothing more than to because if you understand a law enforcement officer, when they get out of training, they only come out with the bare minimum, just enough for them to say they're an officer and just enough for them to get in trouble.
Be dangerous.
Yeah.
Well, it's like what everybody might need, like just in case, here's what everybody might need, but not necessarily like the level of training that a cop on the street is gonna need.
Correct.
Now, G, you've been doing some awesome interviews with a lot of different, like you said, you're going to get ready to go interview Charles Heller, but guys, go check out G Webb's channel. The last month or so, he's been doing some awesome interviews with some really amazing people in the Second Amendment community. So go check that out. And obviously he's got the Daily Gun Show. He didn't like to plug it, but I'm going to plug it. The Daily Gun Show every weeknight at midnight Eastern, where you can go and we kind of close up the day. It's a great way to end your day with a live Daily Gun Show where we talk all sorts of different topics. So go check that out on Daily Gun Show over at Gun Channels and on YouTube. But thanks, G, for coming on. You're always awesome.
Thank you.
Clover, what you got going on? Are you doing anything, or are you just kind of being lazy?
Well, I'm definitely lazy, but I do things here and there. First, thanks to Cole for jumping on and talking Double Dog Arms. It was fun. Got a little bit deep and nerdy there a little bit, but that's always good. It's always fun. As far as the things I've got going on, yeah, there's a few things I want to mention. Coming up, we've got Cedar Mill Fine Firearms, who does firearm cases, on the podcast Friday. Fairly interesting conversation there with some things that went on with their Amazon store and stuff. So not just the products, but if you're kind of interested in what goes on with, biases and that sort of stuff, as it pertains to these platforms and media and stuff like that, should enjoy that conversation. And then lots of produced stuff, hopefully, to come out. I mean, we're kind of back on schedule now that NRA is out of the way, and want to encourage anybody, because the intros of my produced videos now, you'll see several different people that probably you may follow, you may know, all that good kind of stuff. But if you don't, the whole point of getting the clips and getting those folks into those intros is a little bit of promotion for them. So, if you're watching one of our videos and you see that person or whatever, go check them out, follow them, and see if they're doing things that you may like and want to continue to follow. And then finally, real quick, for anybody that might be listening that is a patron, definitely want to get this out as much as possible. We've got some projects we're working on for youth shooting sports grants and things like that. Definitely want all of the patrons to be a part of that, and we're going to have an executive meeting tomorrow night, private, just amongst ourselves, try to hammer out some of the details and get that main project anyway rolling. So if you're out there and that applies to you, that we'll have that around 10 Eastern tomorrow. And again, thanks for an invite. Good chat.
I appreciate it. Now, Cole, I want to bring you back in real quick, and maybe if you want to talk about where people can find you on social media, where they can find your products and all that stuff, kind of give people that, I think there's a lot of people that maybe not have heard of you or remember the old regime and are excited that y'all are back. There's been a lot of excitement in the chat about where they can find you. So you want to kind of tell us where we can find all you guys?
For sure. Yeah. Our website is www.devildogarms.com. Like I said, all of our products are on there. We're always trying to upgrade, always trying to grow it. We've got a Facebook page. We've got an Instagram page. Go follow us. Here in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be doing some giveaways. We give away 1911s. We give away ARs. We give away a lot of different things. And then we do a lot of, fundraisers for groups. Like I said, special forces groups, some of those things. We're doing a one right now for one of the special forces groups that it's a shoot down south. You can learn more about that on our Facebook page, on our Instagram page. But yeah, I mean, always try and follow us, because we're always trying to do something different and always trying to put our information out there. And if we can work any more with Ghost Tactical or any of you guys, I mean, crap, we're always willing to work with you guys. Any of you, if you're always, any of you are willing to have us back on any of your podcasts, or talk about more guns, or even talk about long range or any of that, let me know.
We will definitely do that. Yeah, there's one of those things where it's, like I said, Devil Dog Arms, to me, obviously, just right off the bat, has a special place in my heart, being a Marine. People may not understand that Devil Dog is a nickname that we've got from Germany back in the old World War. So Devil Dog is a term of endearment that us Marines take very, very seriously. So it was awesome. Thank you for coming on. Guys, if you're watching in replay, over on the chat, all the links to the social media are in the chat, but I'll also put them in the description. If you're listening on podcast form on iHeartRadio or Spotify or iTunes or wherever, please, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. We will definitely get to those. And you can email me anytime at live@ghosttactical.us. But please go make sure you check out Devil Dog Arms on all the social media, especially the website. They've got some amazing stuff. And I look to hopefully be doing some cool stuff with Devil Dog for a long, long time. They're awesome people, awesome products. And like I said, everyone deserves a second chance at redemption. And they're taking full advantage of some things that happened that were out of their control. And they are awesome people. They're really putting their best foot forward. So please go help them out. Go support them. And if you have anything that you would like for us to ask them in a later time, once again, comments or email. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you next week. And we have our very good friend, Yuta Raymer, with a Pew Pew Jew. Yuta's going to be on with us next week, talking about his new book that's coming out. So if you guys know Yuta and you like his stuff, please come check us out next Tuesday at 8 Eastern, 7 Central on Tactical Tuesday. We'll talk to you soon. Semper Fi.